Hi, Marilyn O'Hearn with the Weekly Wisdom. And today we're looking at Me Too. What will you do? Me too. I want to play the school sponsored sport. I want to drive a car, own property, vote, be paid equally for equal work, have a seat at the board and in government, and even be a CEO, to be respected and safe. So, what will you do to contribute to that? We know that 1/3 of women globally experience violence, including sexual assault and harassment. And this is a human rights issue. And it's not only women, we know that some men experience this too. And it's much less frequent for them. So globally, it's men that hold power. And how can shared power lead to a world that works better for everyone? So Me Too started with empowerment through empathy, women of color. And then 11 years later, women in entertainment picked up that phrase. And of course, it's gone on to be a global movement of speaking up and saying, this has happened to me. I have been harassed, or I have been a victim of sexual assault or rape, and I'm not putting up with it anymore. We're not putting up with it anymore. It's not going to be tolerated. And this movement, Me Too, is taking steps for legislative and other changes. So how can you, men especially, be part of the solution? And why should you care? Well, we know financially it works better. That when organizations have greater female representation, and of course, women are only going to want to stay in organizations where they're treated with respect and feel safe against sexual harassment and assault. And it just is the right thing to do. Let's face it. Who wants to live in a world where half the population is at risk? Is this the world that we want to raise our children, our grandchildren in? And I think men are realizing that it's not so safe inside the box, the man box, or the man code, the guy code. And we'll get to that in a minute. So this is the right thing to do. It takes courage and persistence. And as the UN says, everyone's dignity is undermined when anyone's dignity is undermined. So what needs to happen to prevent harassment and assault of women? It is this changing of the guy code or the man box, which again will benefit men too, because that can be a confining place to be. Let's get away from the boys will be boys message. You can take the pledge, guys, men, and I'll provide a link for that in the comment section. And they believe that awareness leads to action, leads to lasting change. And so there's organizations that are working towards this. So I'm thankful for that. And this shifting power, I believe that shared power leads to peace and prosperity. And so organizations, men are learning that this actually does lead to more prosperity. And they're sponsoring women for key assignments and suggesting that they be promoted without sexual strings attached. And governments and boards are also increasing female representation, and that can lead to legislative and policy changes that benefits everyone. I also discovered a group called MAN, M-A-A-N, Men Against abuse now. And they're dispelling myths of false accusations and sharing research about how women are shamed and blamed and fighting against that. And also, there's a group in South Africa called Men as Partners, and their research shows that 71% of their male workshop participants believe that women should have the same rights as men, while only 25% of the general population in South Africa believes that. And 82% of their participants believe that it is not normal for men to abuse their wives, while 38% of the population believes it is normal. So we're learning the power of stories, of women sharing their stories, and men like Trevor Noah sharing his story of his stepdad trying to kill and shooting his mom, and the times that she called the police before that, they just said, well, you know how women are. You know, like it's okay to be abusing your spouse. And that doesn't just happen in South Africa. It happens all over the world. So we want a different world. I know when my daughters were born, I knew the statistics, and I was afraid. I didn't want them to be assaulted, to experience violence against themselves just simply for being girls. And now that I have a grandson, I want him to live in a world where we're all respected and have safety. So what will you do? I invite you to consider that, to write in the comments, and to stay tuned, because each week we'll be sharing this weekly wisdom, which helps you increase your awareness, and that leads to better cultural intelligence, which will help bring you greater prosperity and peace. Thank you.